Hello everyone and welcome to the second ever SRB2 community channel interview. Today we're going to be talking about an absolute SRB2 legend. And this runner started with the most recent version, the latest version, sorry, of SRB2. And quickly excelled at this game. Ended up coming up with times that absolutely destroyed other times, including, at the time, the TAS run for Arid Canyon Zone 1. That's not where his TAS domination stops. This runner was able to not only get this time, which was unfounded, it created a strat, that had never been seen before, dubbed the Anvil Skip Skip Skip. I don't even think runners know what Anvil we're talking about anymore that we're skipping. But he's also managed to get a time that's only within less than a second of the Egg Rock Zone 1 world record. Absolutely fantastic runner. And on top of that, this runner is absolutely consistent at this game. We've hosted 2 tournaments on Caesar so far. One was the Sonic tournament and the other was Metal Sonic. And in both of those events, this runner was able to clinch out the finals and take a massive W in both. Which is absolutely incredible. It just shows how consistent this runner is, which is truly something to be studied because I don't understand it. He's just so good at this game. After this time, he ended up running the Fortnite racer game, Rocket Racer. Or Rocket Racing, my bad. And this game has quite a vast scene, obviously taken off of Fortnite. It's got quite a lot of players, and we see this runner actually doing a lot of events, doing pretty well in each event, you know, because this game has quite a sizable chunk of players who are interested in it, and it's quite a hard game, you know, there's a lot of skips, there's a lot going on with this game, but he makes it look pretty easy. And speaking about Fortnite, this runner is also on the Unreal rank, which is the highest rank that you can get in the game, which is just absolutely legendary. It's like literally the best you can do with Fortnite. I think it's incredible. And speaking about incredible, I think it was incredible that as soon as I told this runner who the next 2 guests would be, he immediately said it on stream after saying that he wasn't going to. I'm talking about the incredible VibezTurfs. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing good.
Yeah, that saying it on stream was so funny. How did you manage that?
Dude, I don't even know. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was trying so hard not to say it. Thankfully, I think you were like the only person in the stream at the time. So
Yeah, I think that's the only saving grace.
Get leaked.
Right after you were saying, "Oh no, I'm not going to be a Tom Holland and say it," you said it immediately.
It's all good though.
Yeah, of course we're not leaking it here. I'm just saying, Vibe said it on his own stream, which was very, very funny. But yeah,
have fun looking through all that, JK.
yeah, you probably won't find it, but it's good to have you here. Obviously, you've been running SRB2 for the longest amount of time out of all of the games that you've done, and I have the question, you know, like, how did you end up finding this game? Obviously, you only ended up speedrunning it with version 2.2, I believe, but did you play this game before then?
Yeah, so I started, 2.4, I think was when I did my first run. I think it was actually Tails that I had started at first, and then went to Sonic. I don't remember. But in, I think, high school, I remember playing with some friends, like on the school computer, here and there, because it's a free game. You can just download it.
Yeah.
And there was like a free version of Minecraft that you could also play. But this was back in 2.1, I think, with the different deep sea zone level layout and everything. So I did that, and I didn't speedrun it, but I played Capture the Flag for the most part with some buddies in school. So yeah, And then later on, I don't know what got me into the speedrunning. I think it was Kaizo Mario. And then I found this game again and started speedrunning this.
Wow, you ended up coming into speedrunning through Kaizo. That's actually kind of insane. Like, you must have been ready for like the really crazy strats that you ended up doing from that.
Yeah, I mean the jumps and tricks for that are like more difficult because it's 2D, so you have to think ahead of what you gotta do. Um, some of the levels are fun, but that's pretty much how I started liking the more difficult jumps and whatnot.
Yeah, I think I was kind of similar to yourself because when I started playing this game, it must have been, I'm trying to think, it must have been like 16 years ago, which is crazy. But yeah, I was the same. It was in high school, like just playing it on the computers. And yeah, the good thing about that was because it was all on like the LAN play. Like everyone could like
Right.
team up really easily. I think nowadays, yeah, like a lot of the people who play online these days obviously are doing it on the online, which has all that lag.
Yeah, I don't even play online anymore, to be honest. I just do the speedruns.
Oh, for sure. I think, you know, when you're playing this game, unlike Cart or whatever, it's got a bit too much lag on the online to really be bothered playing with, I think. I don't know how
Yeah.
Cart got rid of all that lag, by the way. That needs to be studied, but when you ended up running this game at the start, you know, what really stuck out about Sonic's story? Because I think that was the main category we saw you running.
I guess it was just the speed. The speed and the tricks, definitely, for sure. Because I think I did like the monitor bounces, especially for Deep Sea 1 and Castle Lugman 1. Those were like pretty neat tricks at the time. I
Oh, yeah.
remember those jumps being difficult to even time out for the first time, like when I started running. Crazy how much has changed.
I know, the insane strats that you go for now. Speaking of insane strats, I never said it in the intro, but Egg Rock 2, do you want to talk about the insane strats there?
Yeah, so I guess for a while I think I had the PB or like world record for Egg Rock 2, and then Oars had taken it for a time. So I just didn't run that for a while. And then I guess we were going back and forth for like a 144 time. So we then brought it down to 141. And I had a feeling that a 140 was possible. And I knew that you could jump between the single lasers on the right. That's what Oars did in one of the runs. But nobody's done it on the left or optimized it enough to even make the task cycle for the 103 on the elevator, like afterwards. So I just figured, why not go for it? See if it's even possible. And apparently it was.
Yeah, you've had that approach for a lot of your speedruns, haven't you? You've just been like, oh, look, the task does it. Like, why don't we do it? Like, do
Right.
you think that's been helping with your runs like recently? Because I've been seeing you practice a lot of these crazy strats, but
It does. It takes hours at a time for most of these attempts. I know the Egg Rock 2 took about like 3 days, maybe more for that. Like obviously not all at one time. Some of the levels just take forever to get a perfect run out of, just because of how difficult the tricks are and the timing of the jumps. But sometimes you just gotta get the one run that you need, and then it just ends up happening.
Yeah, it's really hard to explain to a lot of the people who are watching, but basically the Egg Rock skip, because with a lot of time saves in this game, you've got to be aware of like cycles, and that Egg Rock 2 was no exception. And I think one of the biggest like hurdles was the Yoko blocks section, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I actually somehow managed to get that on like the third or fourth attempt. So I guess that wasn't that bad, but it's still a blind jump for that entire section. I
Yeah,
guess it does help that I've had practice for the Yoko skips throughout the years, so I guess timing that wasn't too bad. It's just more of making that cycle at the 103.
yeah. Well, I think Ors ended up making a resource for that though, didn't he? With the
Yeah, there were
yeah.
two mods that he did. So one was like a still version of it for that cycle, and then one was just the regular uh, cycle with like the disappearing Yoko blocks, just to practice it.
To be honest, like even even just the still one he made, like I think that might come in handy for a lot of runners because yeah, a lot of people are just way too intimidated by that skip.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even as it's disappearing, it's much more difficult to like, because if you make a bump before, then it's like, where's it gonna be at now? And you kind of have to plan ahead for that for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few levels like that. Thankfully, Sonic's a little bit better for stages like Red Volcano, but if you run someone like Metal Sonic, Red Volcano really trips you up if you don't know what the cycles are supposed to look like. So, yeah,
Right.
this game's pretty brutal in that regard. With this game, by the way, I was saying in the intro, obviously, you are the champion of Caesar. You know, you've won both of the events we've hosted there so far. How did you plan that? Like, how did you get as consistent as you were? Because even with the Sonic tournament, you know, you beat out Lemon at the time, who was the world record holder. So, like, what was the game strategy there? Like, how did you do that?
I guess basically just a lot of IO practice kind of helps. And I don't know, at the time I feel like I hadn't done too many IO or not IO, any percent stuff. But I have done it. I don't know. That's a little tricky because I think it's more about the IOs because I've gotten way more time on those. Lemon was pretty more consistent at the time for these any percent categories. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with IL, for myself specifically, I mean, like, I know it's hard to do the strats for like an IL and then adapt it for real time because I know how difficult they can be. But yeah, you just have this like different sort of mindset with it, don't you? You sort of you're like, okay, I'm gonna learn the hard strats first, so it's not intimidating later.
Yeah. Yeah, it does help just trying to YOLO it to see what I can get, and if I don't get it, I'll just do a different level and then go back to it at a later time.
Yeah. No, it's such a good approach, honestly. I wish I could do that, but I'm way too intimidated. Like as soon as I'm in a guide and someone says, "Yeah, this is going to be a hard strat," I'm like, "Oh, okay, so I need to learn something easy." But you're just like, "Nah, I'm going to learn it now then."
Yeah, I mean, it does take a while even to get the first jump, but usually once you get it, it becomes so much easier afterwards.
Oh, for sure. How was it, by the way, winning those events? I wouldn't know, of course. You crushed me with Metal Sonic, but like, how was it to win both of those events?
Yeah, no, I was pretty hyped. Like, I mean, it may not seem like a bunch of runners were in the tournament, but like, it's 2 days or so for like doing these events, especially for the speedrunning tournaments. So at some point, there's gonna be fatigue. So you're kind of just going for it, and then once it's over, it's like, oh shit, I just won those tournaments.
Yeah, I think that was one of my main takeaways because I didn't play in the Sonic tournament, but I played in the Metal, and one of the things I noticed was, wow, I'm just hitting these like really consistent like 22 and 21 minute runs all the time.
Yeah, no, consistency is definitely key, especially for Metal Sonic. Some of the levels, especially with speed shoes, can be difficult. But for the most part, Metal Sonic isn't that bad to play as. So if you can make sure that you're getting a consistent time of like 22, 21, then that's pretty much what you should be aiming for. Nothing like a 20 time or anything like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because then that gets to your head.
Yeah, because you're not going to enjoy it as much if you're just like have this arbitrary goal. Like, yeah, you just want to be able to like do stuff consistently and have it feel good for you and stuff, and you'll definitely improve a lot faster that way.
Right.
When you were running in those tournaments, by the way, though, did you feel like being in the tournament environment changed how you practiced the game, or was it like your normal sort of practice mentality? Like, how was that?
In tournament settings, I guess I get more competitive, so I guess that's like more of the drive for me, doing like these tricks and whatnot. Because you got to think about what the opponent is doing as well.
Yeah.
If you know that they're pretty good at the game, you got to think about what tricks they're gonna do. Like the one for the Sonic tournament, I remember a Red Canyon zone. I think we both tried to go for the turtle skip with the monitor bounce. I think we both got that, and that's pretty much what caught me up in that tournament setting. So you different mindset for sure.
Yeah. I know a lot of runners will they'll play the game, but they won't have like their opponent up so that they don't know.
Right.
Personally, I find that a little bit lame. Like, it takes away that race element. Like, I think it helps to know like where the opponent is. How are you with that? Do you have the opponent up on another monitor, or?
I'm kind of indifferent. At first, I used to not have like the screen up. I think when I was first doing the tournaments and whatnot, just so I could focus. But now that I'm like better at the game, I will have it up just to watch, I guess, just to make sure.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's also just nice, like, sometimes if you're ahead, you might be like, oh, I'm like 5 seconds ahead, I can go for this slower strat and be okay.
Right, yeah.
Whereas
I've done that before.
Yeah, whereas if you know you're behind, it's like, oh, I might have to go for a lot riskier stuff.
Yeah. That's kind of what you have to do, though, honestly. I think definitely as well, these tournaments have helped for the rocket racing tournaments that I've been in. Because I do have to practice everything and whatnot, and then go into competitive mode, so to speak. Just kind of focus and lock in.
Yeah. How did that come about, you know, the rocket racing and stuff? Like, how did you end up getting into that scene?
I guess when it came out, like a year ago, it kind of struck me as pretty fun because of the way you can do these jumps and whatnot, and the speed was pretty quick as well. I guess that's another factor because I'm a speedrunner. I like speed. But yeah, I don't know. Something about like the mag flips that you can do, the different boosts that you can time with, just was pretty neat.
Yeah, because I know that you got quite into it. Like, you've been doing tournaments recently, and you've not been like far down considering how many people show up to these events, have you?
No, there's a lot of good players, like way better players than me for sure. Especially with like B-hops recently. That's pretty much what you gotta do now to win the race
Oh
for
man,
some of the tracks.
can't believe
So
they modded in B-hops from Half-Life.
yeah. But no, the speed that you keep from it is pretty crazy. You could be going at like 570, and then the B-hops conserve the speed from before. So it'll show 570, but you're technically going at like 1,000.
Oh, that's quite
Instead of
interesting.
570, yeah. It conserves that speed.
Yeah, because I've seen that when I was just snooping a little before this event at like some of your rocket racing stuff, and I did see that like 570 speed a lot, and I was like, oh, that seems a bit slow, but I suppose if that's what's happening, then that's quite interesting.
Yeah. So there's also like B-hop combined into mag flip. then that like gets you even further. You can see that in the tilted turnpike where you can like b-hop into a mag flip there, but not that level or track specifically, but certain tracks do that.
Yeah. Oh no, that's really interesting. I think honestly, if you're not part of the sort of game and the culture there, it's kind of hard to sort of tell like what's going on and whatnot. So it's interesting.
Right.
It's interesting to hear you speak about it and stuff.
Yeah. They didn't even have this game mode. I think it came out at the same time as Festival. I don't remember because it's been out Fortnite for like what 7 years
Yeah.
by now, and I started in Chapter 1, Season 5, I believe. So I'm OG, but like it was just build mode back then, no zero build. And then once zero build came out, I pretty much did that instead of build mode because I used to be able to tunnel and whatnot back then. But nah, I just do zero build and rocket racing at this point.
Yeah. No, it sounds like a good time. Obviously, we spoke a little bit in the intro about Fortnite. You're the Unreal rank. How was grinding for that? And do you feel like it helped you with the speedrun at all?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. I'm not Unreal this season. I didn't play that much, but every season before I'm Unreal. It pretty much began in Season 0 when the game came out a year ago. Because I think that was when everybody was trying to get Unreal to see if they can like be the best of the best. And definitely, I don't even think SRC had a channel for that yet at the time when it first came out. But once it did, we were like routing and everything. B-hops weren't even a thing. I don't even think mag flips were a thing at the time. But I pretty much kind of had to look at what people were doing ahead of me at the time, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh yeah, because
You can't
obviously no
really
resources.
Yeah, you can't really see that well. You still also had to practice the tracks and then see what other people are kind of doing with it. It's a little difficult, but once the speedruns came out, that's pretty much what I looked at. Is every day or every other day I'd see if there's a new route change, then practice it.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I was going to say, by the way, this isn't like the only two games that you've entered tournaments for. You also entered a tournament for Alt F4 too.
Oh dear God.
What a game, by the way, if you've not played it. But it seems like you're quite prone to the like events and stuff. You know, how do you think? How do you feel like that all came about? Because yeah, I see you entering so many tournaments, and I'm like, whoa, I can't even keep up.
Yeah, so the Alt F42, I got a free access code for that. I'm like, that's a. I think I actually paid for that one. I don't remember. Um, but yeah, I saw that there was some decent money. Figured why not? But then once there was like the tournament, they changed a few things during the tournament. I'm like, nah, that's messed up.
Oh,
They
what
were
did they
like trying
change?
to figure out to allow certain things and whatnot. Um, and then the shield launch was pretty annoying. I could not get that down. Um, but yeah,
Oh,
I do join most of the tournaments every now and then.
yeah, it definitely helps for our events when we're running. I know, okay, Vibes is gonna turn up to this. That's good. I have someone who's not myself in this event, but yeah, I know it's just crazy how many like events you show up for. It's incredible. I don't think I could do it that many games.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some of the free time does help. Because it does give me something to do when I'm like on break from college or something like that. Um, but yeah, because I don't work at the time being, it gives me just pretty much something to do, and it's pretty fun.
No, for sure. Yeah, no, I think all F4 too. I tried to play that game as well, but like, oh my god, it's obviously one of those like rage bait games.
Yeah.
Like only up or whatever. If anyone's seen that, so No, it's for sure a really interesting game. You should try it out.
Definitely not. Do not recommend.
So the name, I always thought your name was really interesting. VibezTurfs? Like, what does this mean? Where did it come from?
So originally, I forget what name I had before. There was another name before. I had the Gaming Turfs. That was my original gamer tag. I think I had a different name though before. I don't remember. And then when I was playing Fortnite with some of the friends, we just came up with like a group name, I guess. We called it Vibes or something like that, Vibes and Friends. And then we just like put Vibes at the beginning of the name. So it just became VibezTurfs instead of the Gaming Turfs, and I kind of just liked that name. So I stuck with it.
Oh, that's quite nice, actually. I like that. Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was maybe just like you know, people thought you were a good vibe and kept calling you that, but no, that
Oh
works
no.
as well.
Yeah, I do rage here and there, especially in Fortnite. Usually when I speedrun, I don't get super upset unless I make like a freaking mistake at the end, like Black Core 2 when I'm 1 second ahead of world record pace. But you know, it's more because I'm competitive, and especially in the Fortnite scene.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of competitive, by the way, obviously the SRB2 run has gotten so like low in time, like the Sonic run specifically. I mean, you know, there's before there wasn't anyone good enough to get like sub 20, but now there's like 3 of you.
Right.
Yeah, how far do you think you specifically would be able to take the time at this point?
I still think there's 20 to 30 seconds to save from the world record. Lemon thinks for sure we can get sub 19 at one point.
Don't
I
listen to
think so as
Lemon.
well.
Lemon's like on drugs, I swear.
Oh no, I'm sure it's doable for sure, but you have to get the whole run perfect, no mistakes. You have to do turtle skip. You have to get like freaking certain. You can get 1 minute for Black Core 2, like those sort of things. I think for definitely for a while I had like a 2046 as the world record for like 1 year before even like Lemon decided to go for the sub 20 attempts. And
Yeah.
now he has like a 2013. Um, but yeah, I think at least another 15 to 30 seconds could be brought down from Katie's time.
Yeah, and I think speaking of Lemon's time, I think yours is only a second off. Isn't yours a 2014 or something?
It's a 2021 at the moment,
Ah,
I
okay.
believe.
I knew it was close, but I wasn't sure how close. Yeah, you're definitely right there, though. It's going to be insane to see. I asked Lemon this, and he wasn't too sure. But do you think there's any strats right now which are just done in ILs, that'll soon become mandatory for like the speedrun? You know, like the waterfall in Greenflower 2. Do you think any strats like that will eventually have to be done for the world record?
I would think so. If you're going for a sub 19 for that level, you'd kind of have to go for that. Which thankfully it's at the beginning, so you could just reset. But then you have to do Greenflower 1 every time, which is gonna be annoying. I've only managed to do that once, as well as get Techno Hill Zone 2 sub 1. Never again though. But yeah, 1 minute you could get for Black Core 2. I've gotten that in a run before once. Let me see. The Red Canyon 1, if you manage to get Turtle Skip, that would be a nice time save.
Yeah, but even then, it's not just the turtle skip with Arid 1, it's you have to do all of those jumps, like, and keep all that momentum. Essentially like a B-hop, because you don't have speed shoes the way that you do it with the Anvil skip, or whatever we're calling it now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've been losing most of my runs, sub 20 runs. I'll be on good pace. I just lose it on a Red Canyon zone for whatever reason, especially near the bridge or like at the beginning jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I can definitely get it if I get past the Red Canyon zone. I feel like.
I just think it's crazy how far the speedrunners come because I remember this was for 2.1, mind you, but I remember back in the day I got a time and it was like 28 minutes, and I was like, okay, this seems like the only reasonable time that you can get for this game because no way our runner's gonna go for all these insane strats. The fool that I was, like, SRB2 runners will go for any strat.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's just.
Oh yeah, we can
crazy
be
to
pretty
see.
cracked if we want.
Yeah, y'all are scary, honestly. That's why I'm asking what sort of strats you think might come in the future, like, because yeah, I need to be prepared. My heart can't give with a lot of what's going on.
I think what you mentioned as well for what 2.1 with the 28 time. I don't think there were slopes back then, as
No.
Lemon mentioned on the previous interview. So that helped, and it was slower zoom tubes as well.
Yeah,
So
I mean, okay, so for context, by the way, runners ended up getting a 23. So I was off by a little bit. But it's just,
it's not that far off.
it's still insane what they went for. Like, because back in the day, there was just crazy strats with, like, Deep Sea one that I thought were, like, IL only. Because back in the day, you could get a sub 1 minute if you did, like, the most insane strats. Like, nowadays, it's like,
Yeah.
everyone would be going for that. But back in the day, it's like, no way, someone gonna do this on a run. So that was really interesting when people, like, refrag and stuff when going for those strats. But yeah, no, this game's come a long way. Speaking of past versions of SRB2, by the way, have you ever considered in the past running a prior version of this game?
Maybe 2.1 would be interesting. Play that again, but I don't think so. Not until like I get sub 20 or anything like that here. Because I'm trying to. If there's a new update before I get sub 20, then I'm kind of screwed.
Oh, yeah.
The goal is to get like sub 20, but I might think about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are not missing out, but if you didn't play back in the day, version 2.0 was pretty fun as Tails because you could just get infinite speed with the strafe flying. A strat that no longer exists. It was this funny glitch. You just gained speed infinitely if you held the strafe button. And
Yeah,
obviously,
unfortunately, I missed it.
And-
Missed out on that.
obviously though, back then we didn't know about hyperwalls as well. So it'd be interesting to see just how much faster those runs could be. But no, it's an interesting time. But I definitely think where SRB2 is right now, is the best version.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
So did you ever have any moments in the speedrunning community like that really stuck with you?
I guess the tournaments, like, those were really fun. Definitely some of the times that I'd be in, I still can't believe that I've gotten those times for like IOs. Those are really tough. But yeah, just being able to hang out in the community is pretty nice. Hang out in voice chats here and there.
Yeah, I think some of your runs that you've gotten, I remember, because there's a runner called Emily Saylor, if anyone doesn't know somehow.
Cracked.
I remember when you did the Metal Sonic world record there, even she was like, yeah, I'm not going to go for those kinds of strats. And that's how you know. That's how you know that what you're going for is absolutely insane.
I still don't know why. Like, it saves so much time, but it's so risky at the same time if you get like one hit there. Like, especially for the Castle Eggman Zone 2 level with Metal Sonic.
Yeah, because it's, well, you ended up finding there's a weird strat. So with Metal Sonic, normally you can like keep his overdrive very easily if you're in the air at all. you can slow right down and still keep it somehow. But
Yeah.
you found a way to keep his overdrive on the ground. And how did that happen? Like, that is insane. That's such a crazy find.
I think Zippy might have found that, and then I just kind of went for it. Because I think Zippy at the time was also Zippy Zero was doing Metal Sonic. Um, so I figured I might as well try it out and then just go for it. And it's still difficult for sure. Um, but yeah, I just go for it and just try to get the angles, I guess, to line up, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
because you need to have the overdrive to have the jumps, and then use windshield to keep it.
oh, for sure. It's, yeah, if you don't know, like, God, I think you have to, like, mash, like, W, basically, when you're on the ground, and you can, like, just barely keep overdrive if you're, like, while slowing down, because you have to slow down
Right.
at this one section in Castle Eggman 2, and it's just, I don't understand it. It's
So
insane.
there's actually you can either let go of W and then press it again quickly after letting go, because that slows you down. Or you can press like right, and that keeps the momentum.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, it'll slow you down, but it keeps the overdrive.
That is pretty interesting. I like that.
Yeah, and you can also slow yourself down a little bit more in midair. Just not complete stopping, but it'll also keep that as well. And then that's pretty much how you make it cross that gap.
I think it's crazy that we ended up coming up with a lot of this stuff for Metal, by the way, because before the tournament, I don't think a lot of people know this nowadays, because Metal's quite a respectable character right now, but before, no one was speedrunning him. Like,
Right.
it was pretty much Kennen and Zippy Zero, and sometimes Duck Insurance when he ran this game.
Yeah, it was. And Duck usually ran in first person as well.
Oh
Even more
yeah,
difficult for
so you
metal.
couldn't really tell what was happening.
Right. I like to go back and forth, first person and third person. Uh, but for metal, yeah, I think the tournament definitely helped people get into metal more. Because as you said, there was like no other people running it for the most part.
Yeah,
Um,
even
yeah,
myself, like it wasn't until we sort of just said it on like an off chance, like, oh, maybe people would be interested in this, but it's actually great how Metal turned out. Like, he's such a fun character.
yeah, maybe on some levels he's a little bit difficult to control, but for the most part he's pretty chill.
Oh yeah, if you've never played before, by the way, I think if you've ever tried like Red Volcano with Metal Sonic, you know, your your opinion will change, I think.
Right. I still don't know how Emily gets the sub 50 time. I think I have like a 50-ish or somewhere close to it, but the speed shoe strat is way too difficult.
See
I
that
can get it for sure.
see that reaction? Like, I don't know how she does that. That's how I feel watching any of your runs. Just so you know. So you've obviously been around this community for a little while. Do you feel
Yeah.
like you've got any fun rivalries?
Um, I mean, I guess the time being, I'm usually rivaled against like Lemon, and before it was like Lemon and Refrag as well as Katie, but I think now it's kind of just trying to beat Lemon to the sub 20 before he does. Because I know we were like Katie, Lemon, and I were going for the sub 20. I started late on going for the sub 20 attempts because I was doing all these different ILs and college stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but like now I'm on break, I can just go for it and try to get it. But yeah, it's pretty much me, Lemon, and Katie at the time.
Yeah, that's crazy because I remember back in the day, like no one ever expected that this would be a real thing. So
Oh, and ores is like for the egg rock song.
yeah, that's what I thought you would say. Like, because as you said, you know, you and Oars have been going back and forth with Egg Rock too. So
At least 7 months back and forth.
that's pretty good going. And I don't know if you know, but Oars is like an OG of this game. Like he's speedrun like every version.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
Just can't keep up with you new runners.
Yeah, I think what was interesting is he had mentioned that he couldn't get. He's gotten the double lasers, but he never made the cycle for the test cycle. Um, it's super difficult. It's so precise and optimized that you really can't make any mistakes for it. Um, I feel like he can do it though.
Ors did say something really funny, and it stuck with me forever. If he's here, like, he knows what I'm about to say, but it's so true in same Ors. But he said one time when all of you crazy runners were like getting all these times with Egg Rock 2, he said, "Thank God that stage has cycles, otherwise I would be doomed."
Yeah. The cycles are like throughout the entire game. I feel like every other level pretty much has a stupid cycle that you have to make.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the cycles definitely even out the playing field.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are a little bit iffy about cycles and stuff and have their opinions, but I don't think they're that bad for this game. Like they don't usually slow you down at all.
Until you miss it.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
you're 5 seconds behind because of a missed cycle.
Oh yeah, for like Techno 2, right? But like before the cycle, you're going full speed, right? So
Right.
I think it's still pretty fast. I don't know. And eventually people will find a way to like skip 57 cycle with Techno 2 as Sonic, so it will happen.
I mean, if Bass does it,
Oh my god.
I'm sure it's doable.
The test does it. That shows you what kind of runner we're talking about today, okay?
Oh god. But yeah, yeah, if you make a certain cycle, then the next cycle is kind of what you have to think about, knowing how much time you can make before making the cycle. If you get grab jump, then there's a couple of seconds here and there that you can make bonks and mistakes.
Hmm.
If you don't make the cycle, like grab jump, then you kind of have like to make everything perfect after with the 144, if that's what you're going for. You just have to mess around with it, honestly. Figure out what's best.
Yeah, I remember back in the day just being happy if I hit the jump at the start, you know, where you can skip the upside down section.
Yeah, I don't even remember who found that. Was it Lemon?
Maybe? Because it's so random, like, you wouldn't think that just doing a little jump there would work, but...
Right.
Yeah, it does somehow.
It's nice that there's an audio cue for it, too.
Yeah, the little free spins. I think it's a bit weird
Yeah.
that you start that stage in the air, so you have to like kind of spam the spin buttons so that you move a little bit forwards and then spin.
And the camera is also, like, if you don't have the camera settings to change with the gravity, then that's also, like, tricky to time it as well, I guess.
Oh yeah, I don't know how anyone runs without that setting on. It's such a game changer.
Yeah. As soon as I found out, I think you told me about it, or someone else. I just always kept it on.
Oh yeah, I was the same. Like I could not play with the camera like upside down. It just made no sense. I was like, my brain hurts. But I used to have to go into like first person because that also fixes the gravity perspective. And
Oh, interesting.
yeah, it's just weird. I don't like playing in first person that much. So I'm really glad that there's just a setting for it now. But
Yeah, thankfully there is a setting for it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this game, the recent version 2.2, this is why so many people have been running it. It's got so much quality of life and it just looks fantastic now, especially compared to how it looked. Like, I remember watching one of my speedruns back and I was like, this is what I was playing? Oh my goodness, it looks so bad.
And we get faster zoom tubes, but they're still broken.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't know, they tried to fix the zoom tubes in SRB2 by making them like bigger, but all that's happened is like we miss them more because of how the zoom tubes actually work.
It's actually a pain. I lost world record pace because of that. I got the double jump, yesterday, I think. I had a run where I was like a little bit behind, but then the double jump kind of saved it. And then I thocked in, missed the zoom tube activation, and then tried to thock out to hit it again, but I still missed it twice in the same tube. So yeah, it's dumb that's even a thing.
Yeah, I think Silic Dev ended up finding out that it has to do with your where you're looking.
Right.
It's so weird and random, and I still don't think we fully know how it works, but it's something to do with that.
Yeah, no, I still hit it when I'm not even trying to. But like when I'm trying to avoid it, it'll just happen when you're trying to do that. Just gotta go with it.
Yeah, funny quirks of this game. But this game, like, apart from this, doesn't really have any sort of glitches or anything, you know, you're quite vanilla in that sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, the only one that was recently found was the Red Volcano one, I think from Mako, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, that was an insane skip. Do you go for that in runs, by the way?
It's so inconsistent, I don't even go for it. But you don't really need to. If you get the jump on the springs, you can still get a 111 time if you get everything perfect after that. But usually I just try to go for the 114, 116-ish.
Yeah, I remembered seeing you in a run go for that once, and then I was like, why is he going for this? Speaking of... I was going to say, I remembered a time when you were speedrunning. Okay, this was before, I think, the Sonic event, right? I don't understand. This has gone back to the consistency question, but I don't understand how you improve this fast. Because I was watching you, and you had this 28-minute run that you game overed in Egg Rock 2. Do you remember this?
I think so. I don't know. It's been so long ago, man.
Oh god, I just remember you played so bad, and that you game over to the stage, and like that was your second game over, so the run had ended. And it's like, how do you go from this to speedrunning like the times that you do for tournaments? Like, it's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some of the different strats help for sure. I guess usually what I do is just, especially for IL, I practice like one thing at a time. Try to make sure that I get that down first. Practice the beginning of the level, and then go for the next trick. Go back into SRC to see what's being done there. But yeah, it's just the amount of practice that you put into it.
Would you say that you're practicing it for like quite a long time per day then, or?
It just depends. Like, I used to do long sessions at a time way back then. I still kind of do today as well, especially for like the sub 20 attempts. But yeah, for the IOs like these ones, you kind of need a longer time of practice for certain tricks.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So how did you end up going from this game to Rocket Racing and Odyssey? Like, how did you end up bridging that gap? Like, was it just a natural, oh, I play these games anyway, or did something happen?
Yeah, it's pretty much just about that. Odyssey came out before Rocket Racing, I think, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe? I don't know. So I guess I had the game, I liked the movement. As long as I like the movement, then it's pretty much a game that I want to speedrun. And that's how it was for Rocket Racing as well.
Yeah. What was it like with Odyssey? Because obviously it's quite a big game, and there's quite a lot to remember.
Right.
Very different to SRB2, which is just kind of like your typical sort of Sonic level. Yeah, how was it to get into that?
It was difficult at first because at the time, these are longer runs. This is like over an hour at least. if you're not like Tyrone and get like a 5601, because that's what world record is right now. I remember at the time it was difficult to get a sub-hour. Like people were trying to get that. And I think Tyrone was the first person. I don't remember. But yeah, longer run, so a little bit more nerves trying to get the tricks down. I guess you kind of just had to practice every kingdom at a time with the routes and see what other people do.
You think you prefer these kind of longer runs, or would you say like SRB2's length is more preferable?
I prefer more like the SRB2 length of like 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
As long as it's a fun game, then I guess it really doesn't matter to me.
No, I feel that. I remembered a game I really liked, which I thought was like kind of similar to Odyssey's movement, not quite, but was a Hat in Time, and I remember speedrunning that back in the day, and getting sub-hour for that was kind of like, you were kind of close to world record back then when I was running it. But thankfully Odyssey doesn't have this. A Hat in Time does have this, but the game like totally changed because some DLC came out, and like runners now are just insane, so my time now is nowhere near. Yeah, God, it's crazy, but it's got to the stage where that run is now kind of like around the time of the SRB2 runs, so it's more preferable. So it's like, it's like it's a lot harder, but it's more the time that I was wanting. So,
yeah, I mean, it's just crazy how the history of some games, like even the speedrunning portion of it, can just like some games can take like years, 8 years or so, and then there's like a major skip that's found. Oh, you gotta put in one game. I think this is for like Paper Mario and like The Legend of Zelda.
yeah.
It's like this thing that you gotta do where you gotta beat a certain part in Paper Mario, and then like the 64 version, and then you gotta switch the cartridge out and then go over to like Legend of like I don't even know how people find this.
I feel like I remember like people talking about this. Yeah, that's so weird. Yeah, and you always think like, how the hell did people come up with this? And then you look back in hindsight, and it's like, oh, it's so obvious.
Yeah, technology advancements make it pretty easy.
Hopefully nothing like that ever happens with SRB2. Hopefully it stays like quite chill, quite, plain.
Yeah.
And
the reason why I'm trying to go for sub 20 as well, because if it's still being worked on, surprisingly. So if there's like new levels added, then you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, if any new stage comes out, that's it. Like, I don't think it'll happen anymore, like sub 20. That'll be interesting though to see how the competition develops, but yeah, for sure. It would be nice to get it now while the game is as it is.
Yeah. You just gotta go for it, pretty much.
So obviously we have done a few events now. We did the first Caesar event, which was a Sonic story tournament, and we hosted our Mystic Realm community event. That was a
fun one.
That was pretty fun. We did the Metal Sonic, and then we did the reverse bracket tournament, which was an open character tournament. Very fun as well. If you were able to do any tournament and people would sign up to it, what would your perfect tournament look like?
I'd still be down for the Amy tournament, honestly.
Really? You think that's that's the one?
More technical, more difficult, but yeah, I feel like Amy would be the way to go.
Wow, that's
especially
really
if
interesting.
she gets an update.
Yeah, it would be nice to see her get an update, because I'm not gonna lie, like, the run for Amy is really interesting, but she doesn't have any abilities. Like, you really just have to be great at platforming, and that's gonna alienate a lot of people.
Yeah, there are just certain back-to-back jumps that you gotta do in every level. So if you mess up, it loses a lot of time. and then it's a reset.
Yeah, Amy is a great character. I think she can do some interesting things. The world record is like 22 minutes, so she's not even that much slower than Sonic. But saying that though, no one's really near the world record right now. I think that's one of the great things about tournaments. So with this game, you know, you see the competition get so much closer to those kinds of times.
Yeah, for sure. I think tournaments, it's nice because you get to play different characters that you don't normally play as, especially since there's a bunch of modded characters. So if we do a tournament like that, like you can play with so many characters that you never play as, and then just try to get better times.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty much never ending.
No, I like the fact that we've managed to implement modded characters, because back in the day I remembered not implementing them because I was like, I mean, it's going to be a lot of effort, and you know, we don't even know how many people will submit a run with a modded character, and how do we know how to add enough characters? But it's just worked out, you know.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully SRC, like, there was some difficult things that you had to deal with like the hashes and whatnot because of how many characters there were.
Yes.
And there's still being characters that are being added and modded level packs. Like, yeah, I don't even know how you keep up with all of that.
Thankfully, the technology nowadays that Lemon and stuff made is just fantastic for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm sure you were bracing yourself for this moment, but I have to ask you. You know, as I had to ask Lemon, this is time for the controversial conversation, okay? Everyone, shiver your timbers, okay? Okay, so it's been up for debate for a while, like a lot longer than I think people realize, okay? I think since SRB2 was like in version 2.0, people were talking about this. But the topic keeps coming up, and we obviously have our Discord fights about it every now and then. And it's always funny to watch. About Sonic's Fock changing to something else. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I definitely prefer the Thok. I don't know. I've seen some people say, oh, they need to change the Thok. I'm like, no. But honestly, if they change it to something that's still fun, like, I wouldn't mind, but I would honestly rather them keep the Thok.
Yeah, I think that's definitely how I feel these days. I will say though that the Mystic Realm community run that we did, it really opened my eyes to them changing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
How did you feel? I was going to say, how did you feel about that one? Like, because obviously that wasn't like they kept the Fock as it was, kind of, but they obviously added that rebound dash. Like, how did you feel about all that?
I think what made it so good is the fact that combined with the fire shield, you just got so much speed.
Oh yeah.
Work with, you know? So like you could go super fast with that fire shield, and I think you could do something with the windshield.
Yeah, it gave you a much bigger rebound. Yeah.
Right, and even the bubble shield, if you hit a wall with it, it'll launch you super far forward. But I really like the way that they handled the fire shield combined with it.
Yeah, well, it would be nice if like just the main team did more with the fire shield, because you know there's not one in the main campaign, and it's not until you get to like Haunted Heights that you even get access to one. So yeah, it would be
electric shield as well.
Yeah, true. So it would be really nice if they actually gave us more stuff in the main campaign. But
yeah,
I think a lot of
maybe
people...
for 2.3 they might do it.
That would be nice. It would make sense to have one in like Red Volcano Act 1 or 2 once 2 comes out.
Right.
But yeah, I think a lot of main people's like concern with the change was that, and this is definitely mine as well, is that Sonic is like the skillful character, so it's really nice to have that kind of like gameplay loop where you've got this skillful character on top of everyone else who's quite fast if you know how to play him right. And obviously if you change that to something else, it might make him an easy character and take away from that. So I think that's what people are mainly scared about.
Yeah, if they end up doing to where you can still like run as both Sonics, then it might be better. I don't know how that would work, honestly. I would rather prefer the Thok. But if they change it to the way MRCE does it, I wouldn't mind.
Oh yeah, no, MRCE has done it in such a way that it's really interesting, and I would definitely accept that. Yeah, that's okay. I think you've definitely beaten the allegations with that answer.
I hope so. Let's go.
Yeah, no, I have to ask it. I mean, it's an interesting question because it's like a lot of SRB2 runners, obviously, like it's remained unchanged this time, but they've changed other characters, so it makes sense why they would consider it, but
they definitely changed the Knuckles.
Yeah.
Being the newest character added to the game.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Knuckles changes? Because I don't know if people know this, but Knuckles is really slow, and they gave him an ability that makes him slower.
So I think what's interesting is I think they fixed kind of the speed that you get from underwater.
Yeah.
I think other than that, they changed the speed that you get from Super Knuckles, I think, if I remember. But other than that, he's literally so slow. Some of the tricks are fine. The up glide tricks are pretty cool. But other than that, you pretty much have to keep spin dashing, and it kind of gets a little boring with Knuckles, I'm not gonna lie.
We triggered Knuckles lovers in chat.
Sorry, Ludic.
Oh my god. Like, I mean Knuckles was a lot faster back in the day, okay?
He's still fun to play with speed shoes, but other than that, he's kind of garbage.
Yeah, I don't understand why they added the little landing thing. Like, Knuckles does not go fast enough to need that, but yeah.
I don't know why you just slow down as you land when gliding. You can negate that with a jump at the end of that glide land, but it's just so annoying.
Yeah, I think that's one of the weird things that people found out. There's like a frame perfect jump you can do to not lose as much speed from that. The fact that it still loses speed is crazy, by the way.
Yeah, if they fix that, I'd maybe play as Knuckles more. I don't know, make him a little faster and I'll be fine. Like, they don't have to adjust. They might have to adjust the jump height for the Castle Eggman boss, but other than that, a few things need to be changed before they make him fun again.
Yeah, it would be nice if he wasn't really struggling with that boss. Speaking of other characters, by the way, are there any other characters that you're interested in running? Like, because obviously you've done really well with Sonic so far. You did really, really well with Metal Sonic, coming second place in the world.
Right.
Are there any others you're looking at, even modded characters?
So I've ran as pretty much every character for the vanilla game. I could still improve my time. I still want to go for the expert rules, master rules, I think, for Amy and Fang. I could improve on that. I guess maybe once I'm done with sub 20 here. Blaze, it looks pretty fun for the modded characters. And Surge I've ran for a bit. Worked on a few ILs and then kind of stopped like midway through. So definitely those two. And Jenna. Jenna's pretty fun to play with.
Yeah, I think Ethereal revolutionized a lot of stuff with Blaze and basically said it best, you know, just a more consistent Metal Sonic.
Yeah. Well, Marine's pretty fun too. Did like one run with her though a while back.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, like, there's been a huge revolutionary with lots of people running like modded characters and stuff, but a lot of people have not done the full game run, so it's so hard to tell how these modded characters shape up compared to other people. It would be nice to see a lot more like full game runs.
Right. I think it's because, especially for runners like Lemon, me, Katie, Refrag, and whatnot, we're trying to get like perfect times for a certain character, so it can take a bit before we even switch to a different character if we ever go for it.
Yeah.
And usually we just prefer like Sonic for the most part because it's Sonic, you know.
I know
The
exactly
speed.
what you mean. When I was speedrunning the game Sonic Adventure DX, that was me. I was like, I'm not going to run anyone else. I've got Sonic. Like, Sonic's the best story. And I'm right, but like, there are other categories, of course.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, eventually we do like move on to take a break, try out different things and whatnot. But yeah,
Yeah. If you had to rate them, by the way, with the modded characters that you tried, because it sounds like you've tried quite a list of them. Like, who would you say is up there, your favorite?
like as a top fastest runners or
Just most
like,
enjoyable, yeah.
I do like Surge. She's pretty neat. She has this electricity that you can use that you don't have to worry about getting hit on electrical portions of the game. If you use an enemy, like if you hit one enemy, get the speed from her ability to hit into the next one, that's also really nice as well. And I think you get this extra height too.
Yeah.
And then I haven't really played too many modded characters besides like Surge, Jenna, like those characters.
Yeah,
I think Tangle would be pretty fun, but she's a little bit annoying with her tail.
oh, she's so hard. It's crazy how like different of a character she is compared to everyone else, because it doesn't feel like consistent with her where it does with other
Right.
characters. But yeah, it takes a lot for me to like run a modded character, that's for sure. A question from the chat. I don't know if you did run anything before this, before SRB2. Or did you do any like competitive stuff before you were speedrunning this game?
Nothing competitive, but the Kaiser Mario world was pretty much what got me into speedrunning. So like I liked how the harder layout, I guess, for Kaizo was. So different games like Akagori and the harder versions of like the ROM hacks just got me interested in speedrunning for the most part overall.
Is that the kind of stuff you're into then? Are you into like these harder kinds of games, or was that just because like I know Kaizo Mario was kind of trending back then?
Right. I guess it was nice to play something other than just like the original game. And then I kind of got into the harder jumps and whatnot, harder tricks, and I've always been fascinated about that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna say it's too nerve-wracking for my blood. I cannot play Kaizo for the life of me.
Yeah, and some of the tricks are like even harder for some of them if they're like frame perfect and whatnot.
Oh, I can believe it. Did you ever not like play games like Want to Be the Guy or anything like that?
No, but that does look like a pretty fun game. I don't think I'll ever play it though.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's very Kaizo-esque. Like that's that's sort of the game plan, I think, with that game.
Yeah, I mean I'll just play like Super Mario Maker and whatnot. Just do that.
No, sounds pretty interesting. Alright, I think I've asked you pretty much all that there is to ask in this interview. You've definitely said a lot. Is there any final words you would like to put onto us?
I mean, just appreciate literally being in the community, I guess. I think it's been, 5 years since I started speedrunning, so
Yeah, I think
definitely
you're right.
lots changed and awesome to meet everybody and whatnot. Still going for the sub 20, literally through like a few times yesterday, but I'll get it soon, I believe.
Yeah, on your I don't know if you know this, by the way, but on your speedrun.com page, you've got like a run that you've pinned onto your front page, and I think the run that you pinned was like your 27-minute SRB2 run.
God.
Yeah.
I do see that. I don't even remember when I pinned that one.
Yeah. I'm like, I was looking at it the other day, and I was like, why did he pin that one?
I think I was trying to pin the 2046, but I pinned the wrong one. Because I had the 2046 world record for like a year, and then Lemon just beat that not too long ago.
All these people watching, like, this guy's a phony.
I'm a bot. I'm a Fortnite bot.
Oh my god. No, it's been a pleasure having you in the community, obviously, and I think, honestly, it's people like yourself who have that sort of dedication that really make it the place that it is, so yeah, no, thank you for being there, and the competition you bring, it makes events so much more fun. Like, I cannot stress enough, like, how much more enjoyable they are with you there, and, you know, you've definitely upped the skill ceiling for a lot of the games, so yeah, no, you're insane at this game, and I really can't wait to see what you do next.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I still think a sub 112, sub 113 is doable for Deep Sea 2. There's a few things I might go for. Look at Taz and whatnot. But yeah, definitely really love being in this community. It's and other communities as well, helping out.
Yeah, for sure. And if anyone's wondering why this community has all of a sudden decided to do all these interviews, we have an event coming up. It's on the screen right now. You see the Anything But Vanilla. And like you see Vibes doing in the background here with Super Mario Odyssey, we're accepting all kinds of speedruns except for the SRB2 Vanilla speedrun. So if you want to sign up to this, click the ! sign up button. You will have to be able to live stream to be in this event, unfortunately, for a lot of people with like weaker internets and stuff, but it will definitely be awesome to have you, and it's going to be a really fun time for sure. It's going to be held on January the 18th and 19th, so definitely going to be a great time. And
yeah, it's going to be a fun event. I'm going to be doing Super Mario Odyssey any percent and the Rocket Racing All Expert tracks.
That'll be interesting to see. A lot of people who've been like listening to us talk will finally get to see what the appeal for rocket racing is going to be. But yeah, thank you everyone who has been in this community and made making events so much more enjoyable than you can ever imagine. And yeah, we'll see you next week with our next interviewee, who we will keep a secret, Vibes, won't we? We won't be telling everyone who it is.
Yeah, I definitely won't be like Tom Holland again. Take care, everyone.
Yeah, take care, everyone.